back, everyone. Now today I'm going to show you how to import and write data using Pandas and Python. So what you're gonna do is I'll show you how to load files that are in CSV, Excel files, and also URL files. And also show you how you can explore or view the data once you've loaded it, and also how you can save and export the data in case you want to use it elsewhere or you want to share it with other collaborators. So we're going to use the Jupyter Notebook, and you can use any program that you can run Python, but I think Jupyter Notebook should be a better platform for especially people who are new into Python. Okay, so we're going to start first by loading the libraries that we need to read in files and save files. So load the required libraries. We're going to work with Pandas, so that's what we'll be loading. So for reading and writing files, we need the Pandas. We need to import Pandas as PD. You can call it anything, but most people call it PD. And also, you don't have to do this, but just in case it doesn't work for you, sometimes if you want to load in an Excel file, especially the ones which end with XLSX files, so you need to import another library called OpenPyXL. Okay, I'm gonna run that. So one here shows that everything is run, and I didn't get any error messages, so I think we should go on. Okay, so we're gonna start with loading in the CSV files. So files that end with .csv, which basically and comma separated values. Now I'll start with that and show you how you can do that. So normally when you start, what you need to do is read CSV files. The syntax for loading such data is actually, I'm just gonna show you this, but I want to run. So you need a df, the name of your file. You can call it anything. So you can call it df, you can call it data, or I'm gonna call it data, or so data, and then the function from pd read underscore CSV, and then the file location where your file is stored. File location, okay, file location, and then the file name .csv, whatever you've saved your file. Okay, so for me, I'm gonna call my file .data CSV, and then I'm gonna call that function pd read CSV. And then my data is stored in a folder called data, and the name of my file is data.csv. Okay, so I stored my data in on a desktop, and there's a folder called Vivian Codes, and in there there's a folder called data. So that's where I've stored my files, my data. I'm gonna run that. Okay, so now it seems like it ran, but I don't see my data. I don't know what I loaded. So you can do that by exploring or viewing. I'm gonna call it just viewing, because you're just viewing the data. You're not doing anything to it yet. So you can do that by, there are a lot of functions that you can use. I'm gonna show you a few of them. So see, that's my name of the data, and I'm gonna use a function called head. What it does is it prints the first 5 rows of your data, 5 rows of data. Okay, so this is what my data looks like. So these are the columns, and these are the rows. So it seems like everything is okay. And you can also view the info on your data. You know, like you can use a view function called info. So I have data CSV .info, and it's actually just information on a data frame or on a data that you uploaded. So from here it tells me how many entries I have, basically rows, and then I have total of 10 columns. So it tells me the column names and anything that was missing in here, some missing observations, and the type of the column. Okay, so we uploaded our CSV files and we viewed it and everything seems okay. So let's move on. So what if I have an Excel file that I want to read in Python in order to work with that file? I'll show you read Excel files. And you basically do the same thing, but you slightly use a different function. So we're going to read in any file that actually, so there are many Excel files. You're reading Excel files that end and read XLS, there's dot XLSX, there's and so on. So there's so many of these Excel files. So we're gonna try and see what happens if we just try to load it like that. So I'm gonna do call my file .excel, and I'll call the function from PD read Excel. Again, my file location and the data, and my data is, I have a data called XLSX, and I'm gonna try and load it like that, see what happens. Okay, I got an error. So it's telling me that I can just load it like that. There's something else it's missing. So there's an error. XLS file is not supported. So that means I need to import. Oh, I already imported. Remember when you started, we imported the Open PyXL. So now I have to, okay, I have to tell Python that I need to open this file. I need to add something called the engine is equals open PyXL. See how that works. Cool. So that worked. So you probably have to specify your you need to use the other function, the open PyXL, in order to be able to read in the Excel file. Okay, let's see if it actually loaded or if we have the correct thing. So I'm gonna do view the data again, and call it data Excel, and I'm just gonna view the last 5 data sets. So you can use the function tail to view. Actually prints the last 5 rows of your data. We had head that printed the first 5, and then the tail prints the last. Oh, seems like it worked. So we have a data set which is similar to what we did when we were loading CSV files. So this is the same data actually. Okay, so if you have your Excel file, my Excel file ends in XLS, so this one should be easier to load. You don't have to do anything to it. So I'm gonna call it .excel2, and again PD read Excel, and again file location data, and the name of the file is data.xls. Okay, enter, and that goes. So I'm gonna say, let me use view the data. I'm gonna use another function print to be my data Excel2, and this is a shows me. So, okay, cool. So again, shows me the columns or the variables, and it tells me there are 3,521 rows and 9 columns to my data set. Awesome. Okay. So in case you have multiple sheets, so if your Excel files, has multiple sheets, you can do that too. You can load that. You can either do, if you use this function, it loads everything, but if you want to specify exactly what sheet number you want, you can do that. So I'm going to do Excel free, save it as that, and then I'm gonna call again the pd read Excel function, location of my data, and data, my file name, and then I can specify what sheet name I need. So for the second one, which I saved as sheet 2. I run that, and if I look again and view the data, I can do that, and I'm gonna do the tab complete. Good work. So I can do the tab complete. Use the tab and then just select instead of typing that pro, and then tail. I want to look at the last 5, and there you go. So this is my data from my sheet 2 from my data Excel file. Cool. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how to, the last one is how to import file from URL. So you might have a data that's stored in a URL, and you can do that too as well. And this one is example for file that is stored as a CSV. For CSV files stored in URL. So I'm gonna do that as, I'm gonna call this data URL, and I'm gonna call my function. I can use a pd read CSV to call in files from the website for using a URL, and then I'll need to put in the URL in here. I have some files that I'll be using. This data is actually collected from this New York City flights by J Latex, and best case, so I just went to the GitHub page and wanted the raw data and stored as CSV, and I'm just gonna click on raw over here, and then I'm gonna just copy this link here and paste it in my URL over here. So whenever you have such a file, come across a file stored as a CSV file stored in URL, you can just copy paste that link and just put it inside here. So you just need a pd read CSV and then the link. Now I'm gonna run that, and I can see if my file actually opens. So again, view the data, what you save the data. Let's see if that works. Yep. Data URL. I'm gonna do ahead, and there you go. So this is the same as just the other data set. It's all the same data set, but I just showed you different ways of loading them, if they're saved as either CSV or as Excel or as a URL. Awesome. So now you've loaded in your data, you've worked on it, and you've saved, you create a subset, and now you want to save it so that you can use it next time. You can use it next time, or you can share it with someone else. So how to save and write data from Python or export. How to save and I'm gonna call it export data from Python. So whatever you worked on, so now you want to save it and maybe use it another time. So there are multiple ways, so I'm just going to show you one of them. So I'm going to write my file into CSV and save it for use another time. So remember, we saved our data as CSV when we started working on it, and we go up here, we have our data CSV. So I'm going to call my data, and then I use a function called toCSV, and then I'm gonna put in the location where I want to store it. I'm gonna store it in my data folder and the new name. So I'm gonna call this the new name I want to give to my file. So I'm gonna call this new CSV file. You can call it anything, CSV. Okay, I'm gonna run that, and I can also do the same as Excel file. I can save the same to Excel So write to Excel, export to Excel, write and export, same thing, means the same thing. Okay, I save my file, the data Excel, the first one, and then I'm gonna write it to Excel. Call that function, and again I need a file locations, my data. I'm gonna call this new Excel file dot. I'm gonna call it Excel X maybe, or I'll call it XLX. And you can also include the sheet name if you want. So name equals so sheet 1. Okay. Oh, so it works. So for this one, I can go back and check where my data are. I should be able to see them. So just save this a minute ago. I just saved a new CSV file, you see here, and a new Excel file that we just worked in and saved them. So that's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions on the comment section. I'm gonna post this script and a GitHub in case you want to download and follow it again, and I'll post some more resources that can help you, especially Pandas, how to use Pandas to load other different types of files. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, thank you.